The Roy family, who are congregating in their father's house to hide out ahead of the board decision on Gojo, pauses briefly in collecting his belongings to take a time to watch a video of their father at dinner, who is looking happier than either they or we have ever seen him. He recites a list of presidential losers, a dinner party trick the kids have seen him perform before, and they laugh heartily. Then, as the camera pans around the table, it says, "Finally, Carl performs the English folk ballad, Green Grow the Rushes, Oh," in fine voice with Logan and others joining him. Jerry then shares a filthy limerick. Connor amuses his father with an imitation of him singing, "I'm a Little Teapot," and Connor then delivers a dirty limerick. Kendall, Roman, and Shiv must feel like they've been punched in the face. What is his name? They never saw him, so why? What sort of bond could they actually say they have with their father? The three kids are huddled together in fear throughout the board vote in the second scene, which Shiv suddenly leaves when a 6-6 deadlock renders her the decision-maker. There is a lot to unpack in just this one scene, which brings up the possibility of Ken's accident at Shiv's wedding, as well as the parentage of his children among other nefarious issues. It also leads to a physical conflict with Roman that threatens to cause more sutures to fall out and expose more of the veins on his forehead. Shiv and Roman concur on the fundamental reality, though, which their father has been telling them both tacitly and directly for years. Logan never intended for any of them to take over as Waystar's CEO. He gave Lucas Matson the family business as a result. Frank, who was present at the dinner table and is not an idiot, voted in favor of the agreement because of this. He would have been pleased with the outcome. Jess Armstrong, the creator, did what great writers frequently do. He engineered this finale to leave us guessing wildly and absurdly about a solution that was plainly obvious the entire time. In the opening scene of him rapping and shadowboxing in the back of a limo, Kendall did not appear to be a future CEO. Shiv may have enjoyed the conversation her father had with her about her ascension when they were visiting their country home. It was warm in the light, but she was being taken advantage of. Roman was the most susceptible to manipulation of the three, bound and damaged by his abusive father, and was never taken seriously as a business manager. They each had a name. They were seated at the board. They had some influence. However, their tactics were clumsy, and their strategies frequently failed. They were a failed daughter and two failsons. Their father shared this opinion, and the important, responsible individuals did as well. Perhaps they ought to have listened to their mum all along. Lady Caroline is believed to have blown the deal in Italy, but she would argue that by providing them with a way out, she did the motherly thing and prevented the dysfunction and sadness that would have stuck to them even more if Italy had gone according to plan. In addition to hosting a wedding at an English castle and serving as the bride at another fairy tale wedding in Tuscany, she put an ocean between herself and Logan. She may have stupid ulterior intentions involving her husband and his special cheese-loving friend when she invites the kids to spend time at a lovely little retreat in the Caribbean, but she genuinely wants them to stop bickering and find some peace in their lives. Before the other two, Roman withdraws to mommy, wanting a parent, albeit this distant, imperious parent, to soothe his physical and psychological wounds. Once Kendall and Shiv arrive, Caroline vehemently defends a positive ending. What Caroline receives is a mess, which is made worse by the fact that the kids have resolved their conflict amicably only to become even more mired in the dirt. Greg uses his app abilities to translate a dramatic interaction between Lucas and Oscar, in which Lucas states that despite Shiv's efforts to get the board votes he needs, including hers, to purchase Waystar, he has no intention of selecting her as his American CEO. It's a huge chip, just like when Tom told Logan about his wife's travel plans to Italy. But Greg plays it wrong because he is a Roy. Tom realized Logan always triumphs. Greg had every right to know that Logan's offspring never succeed, but he couldn't pass up the opportunity to join the quad that might take over the business. The significant wage cut that was about to be applied to his $250,000 assistant job may do much more for him. From the day Kendall attempted a no-confidence vote against his ailing father until that original arrangement with Matson and Gojo, the mad race for votes has been a recurring succession event. This time, the crucial distinction is that a Roy child casts the deciding vote. Roman's body language makes it clear that his no is ambiguous and that he would prefer to completely vaporize from the room than to anoint his brother. His entire being has been sapped just by being inside the structure. When Shiv gets the vote, she is presented with a much more intriguing conundrum. Voting no provides her the chance, at the very least, to reject Matson, a vile guy who has played her and made her feel ashamed. and she is unaware of the actual depths of Matsson's disgusting affections for her, unlike Tom. Additionally, it's a clear no to Tom, who has been secretive about his relationship with Matsson and unresponsive to her offers of reconciliation. Her yes is nevertheless compelling on two counts. She may be the one to formally state what Logan and everyone else already know about Kendall, namely that he is unsuited for the position on moral, tactical, and temperamental grounds. The statement, "I don't think you'd be good at it," is direct and accurate. You cannot be CEO as it stands. Not at all. Because you murdered a person. She can also recommit to a relationship that was both the most genuine love she has ever experienced and a transactional union that was rife with serious betrayals on both sides. The despair that Kendall experiences in the closing moments is something we may have predicted, but Tom and Shiv in the limo are something altogether else. I keep thinking about George and Martha from Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, who argue throughout the entire play over the course of a protracted, agonizing evening, most bitterly over their shared delusion of an unreal child. "Truth or illusion, George?" Martha says at the conversation's center. "You don't know the difference," he said, to which George replied, "No, but we must act as if we do." Shiv and Tom will continue as well, in their case, with a real child. But there is anxiety and ambiguity even in the way they hold hands. Like George and Martha, they are unsure of what is real and what isn't between them, but they will both witness the dawn. It all boils down to Tom, a highly interchangeable modular part, who is admired more for his amazing malleability than his outstanding lack of imagination. "Are there any positives about the nightmare we've shared?" Shiv asked Tom. "And I know we've said the worst things, but I think I've always been afraid of, like, the underneaths in relationships. What is a person's worst thought, do you know? You feel somewhat liberated once you've said and done the worst things. Do you want to be in a committed relationship?" The current assistant of Kendall is referred to as Nude Jess. Matsson then expresses to Tom his desire to have sex with Shiv, which he views as a major barrier to giving her the job. Why not date the guy who put the baby inside her instead of the baby lady? The corporate misogyny that permeates the drama has been amply discussed, albeit Succession doesn't emphasize it. Tom does a great job selling himself as just the empty suit Matsson needs. He said to the ATN customer, "If they want red meat and boiling tar, buon appetito." He said a lot of things, and he said them to me first. The would-be CEO Kendall frequently uses words from elementary school. Wonderful scene of sibling camaraderie in Caroline's kitchen, which is evocative of the boathouse scene from Shiv's wedding weekend. If they didn't always argue over this one issue, the three could actually get along well. They ought to relish their wealth and make jokes about stuffing their faces with expensive cheese. Long-distance dating is already something Connor and Willow are considering. Roman explains, they call it the 2-week itch.